welcome back to the Andrew and Ian Show. I'm Andrew Surrock here again with Ian. Hi, Ian. How are you doing this evening, man? We got a good amount of stuff to get to in this episode, but how you doing this evening, man?
Not too bad. Still pretty cold, but it's above zero. That is today, so not too bad. Getting better little by little.
Yeah, I hear that. It actually snowed here today. It was like, and the thing is too is it's been in the negatives pretty much every fucking day this week. So it actually felt warm outside relative to what we were feeling yesterday and the day before. But
It
anyways,
was just snowing like 10 minutes ago.
r-
Let's see if it's still snowing.
man, I
Oh
don't,
no, it's not. It's cleared up now.
I
But
don't,
yeah, it was still going a little bit. It was light, but
I don't know if it is here or not. I can't really see because I have my blinds kind of shut. I'm trying to look outside the crack, but I don't. I can't fucking tell. But anyways, lots to get into. We got some baseball to talk about, mostly to do with the Hall of Fame, um, and also just some minor things as well in the world of baseball. And then obviously our bread and butter, the NFL. We have quite a bit to get to with that. So let's get right into it. Um, on Sunday, we have. Oh no, on Saturday, we have the Eagles hosting the Commanders. The Eagles, a 6 point favorite in this game. Um, so obviously they split each other this year with the the divisional games between these two teams earlier this year, with a crazy come from behind win for the Commanders. I believe that game was on the road too in Philly for them, because at the time they were still fighting for their conference, you know, or to win their conference. They just needed some extra luck in the last couple weeks of the season to help with that, but that game kept them in the fight with it. Um, but anyways, um, the Eagles again, like I said, 6 point favorite, and deservingly so. I mean, they have the best defense right now. They have the best running back in the league right now, and all around their offense has been very, very solid. Jalen Hurts, he doesn't throw it a whole lot, um, but that's by design, especially when you have a guy like Saquon Barkley, rushing for what he does every single game. On the other side of the ball, Washington's run defense looked somewhat better than normal against this Lions team, although they were kind of selling out for it. But ultimately, their defense just played very, very well all around against the run and the pass against the Lions last week. And they'll be looking to continue that momentum to try and stop this Philly offense this week. Jaden Daniels, I think, is going to have a perfect game. Not perfect in completion percentage, but to just have a great game like he did last week, where he's not making any mistakes, staying calm. I know it's a big pressure environment, in the NFC Championship game, but through the first two rounds of the playoffs, he has looked like uh, a veteran QB, and he's a fucking rookie, So, um, the Commanders are going to have their work cut out for them because, again, this Philly defense is really, really good. I'm going to roll with Philly to win. I don't think they cover that 6. I think this game is going to be a very, very close game down to the wire. Weather's supposed to be a lot better than it was in Philly last week, so shouldn't be any snow. It's going to be 39 and sunny, so that should be interesting. But yeah, I'm running with the Eagles still to win this one in a close one.
I think I'm with you with the Eagles covering or the Commanders covering or the losers covering rather. But at the end of the day, I think I have more confidence in the Commanders just because the Jaden Daniels, rookie quarterback, Just cool as can be, just straight facing. And then you have an injury on the opposing team in the first quarter, and you're going over and you're praying with the opposing team's players. Like, that's a veteran guy in a rookie quarterback. The Eagles' defense is very, very good. But we also saw them give up 30 points to this Commanders team and blow that game ultimately. So I agree that Jaden Daniels needs to have a pretty like damn near perfect game, but so does Jalen Hurts. Saquon Barkley's going to get his, and you can stop him all you want. If you force Jalen Hurts to beat you with his arm, he might not. And he's like I said, he's only gotten to like over 300 yards once in this season. I'm not very confident in that, and we saw what Mike Sanders still was doing in that Washington secondary against Jared Goff. They could make some noise and potentially have Jaden Daniels. I believe he would be the first rookie quarterback to make the Super Bowl. At the end of the day, I think Saquon's going to be the difference here. I'm going to roll with Philly. I don't think they cover just because Jaden Daniels is going to make that play just to make that difference. And who knows? They might have the magic in them to go all the way and have that, miracle play at the end of the game.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't the Bengals Rams when Stafford wasn't that Burrow's rookie season? I might be wrong about that. It might have been a second season, but
It was one of his
I
first two seasons, yeah.
I can't remember now if that was a rookie season or not. I let's see, that was what 2021. So no, that would have been his second season. So yeah, if they win this game, yeah, I think Jalen Hurts would be the first rookie QB to make it. But yeah, I think, yeah, I mean, this Commanders offense is absolutely lethal. So I think they're going to give Philly a run for their money, regardless. And then Sunday evening, I was right. I just miscounted my days. Sunday evening, we have the Chiefs hosting the Bills. The Chiefs, a 2-point favorite in this game. So everyone knows Joe Burrow is undefeated against Mahomes in the regular season, but Mahomes is undefeated against Josh Allen in the postseason when it really, truly matters. Yeah, so there is that. Can Josh Allen actually get it done? Probably not, because you already know the refs are going to be on some bullshit this year with the Chiefs. You already know, but I think the Bills have a chance. I'm going to take them to win this game, but I already know they're going to lose this game simply because we've seen it all year. Everyone knows the Chiefs get every fucking call possible in their favor. And I mean, we even saw it last week with the Texans. So I mean, it's just ridiculous, right? I think overall, I mean, the Bills are the better team than Kansas City, both on mostly on the offensive side of the ball. I think the defensive side of the ball, the Chiefs still are better, but I think the Bills' defense is a lot better than we really give them credit for too. I think the biggest thing here though is, can Kansas City contain Josh Allen in this game, and can Josh Allen not make any stupid mistakes? And I think if you can limit mistakes, if you can try and play just clean football, as clean as you possibly can, especially if you're on the offensive line, to make sure you don't get a holding call for a very, questionable at best call. If you can just avoid penalties as much as you possibly can, you have a chance to win this game. But Josh Allen needs to not turn the ball over, and we know what happens in these super high pressure games for him, especially in the playoffs against the Chiefs. He likes to turn the ball over, so he needs to not do that. on Sunday to win this game. And the receivers need to play well, just like they did as well in the regular season. But now they need to step it up again, and Cook needs to cook in this game as well. I think getting the run game going against Kansas City will be huge for Buffalo. Controlled time of possession, and you can upset this Kansas City team and finally try to put a stop to the three-peat.
And that's what everyone outside of Kansas City wants to see, right? Is an end to the three-peat. Uh, you pretty much summed it up. Play a perfect game, especially if you're Josh Allen. You cannot have that stereotypical game against Kansas City in the playoffs where you turn the ball over at key moments. You need to be at your best, and you've been at your best, MVP caliber year. And now we need to see it in the playoffs. Granted, I don't believe playoff performance is reflected in MVP voting. At the end of the day, if you're going to be voted MVP, you want to win a Super Bowl with it, right? You got to beat the reigning champs, the reigning two-time champs. It's as simple as that. And I think Josh Allen this year is the man to do it. That being said, Will Anderson said it. D'Amico Ryan said it. Everybody's been saying it. It's whoever's playing Kansas City versus everybody. And that we know what that means. I'm going to roll with Buffalo. I think they get it done this year. I'm with you, though, at the end of the day. I think we all know what happens. But give me Buffalo to win and stop the three-peat.
All I'm saying is don't be surprised if Buffalo's up 2 scores in going into the fourth quarter and suddenly they're getting called for every little possible fucking thing and have to fucking keep punting the ball away and giving it to Mahomes so they can catch up. And then also, stupid penalties on defense that aren't really penalties just because it helps Kansas City move the ball downfield. That's all I'm saying. Don't be surprised when that shit happens, because it's happened before. It's probably gonna happen again. But yeah, man. I think this is the year. I mean, this is Josh Allen's best season, I think, so far. But he's got to get over this hump of not being able to beat Mahomes in the playoffs. 0-3 against Mahomes in the playoff. He needs to figure that out. He needs to just think like it's a regular season game, because if you do that, I think you have a really, really good chance of, winning this game. But we all know the Chiefs offensively are also frauds. They have not been that great this year. Again, only scoring 30 points. I could count on my hands how many times, or just one hand how many times I've scored 30 points this entire year, counting the playoffs. So we know that their offense isn't really going to be good enough in a shootout. And that's the way Buffalo likes to win a lot of games, is make those games shootouts. When you get a team like the Chiefs who can't win in a shootout because their offense isn't that great, disasters start to happen. But we will just have to see about that. So, I'm going to hand it on over to you now, Ian. We're going to talk a little bit of baseball.
Yeah, we got the 2025 Hall of Fame class was elected. And our top 3 vote getters were Ichiro Suzuki, CC Sabathia, and Billy Wagner. So congrats to all 3 of them. But, as I mentioned to you before, we started this recording. I think there's one person that was left out, but he ended up 5th in the voting, so I'm not altogether mad. But at the end of the day, I do feel like Andrew Jones was a snub, simply because of how he was playing defensively in center field, as 10-time Gold Glove winner in center field, also while hitting 40 bombs a year. It's just a player you can't leave out. at the end of the day, the three top players are also players that you really couldn't leave out either.
No. And look, Ichiro should have been a unanimous, you know, first ballot Hall of Famer. Like, he should have been. I just want to know who the fuck decided to not vote for him. I just want to talk to him. Is that Peter Griffin meme? I just want to talk to him.
I'm in the same boat.
With the
Just want to
shotgun.
find out who it is.
I just want to talk to him. Like, come on, man. Why would you not vote for him? He's one of the greatest ever, and you're just like, nah, fuck that guy. It's like, that's ridiculous. But yeah, no, the other two guys, especially Wagner, I think deserves it. With his record as a closer, I mean, one of the best closers of all time. I mean, he's no Mariano Rivera, but he's definitely in that realm, right? Um, you know, but I think you know it was a good class. But yeah, Andrew Jones, obviously, I feel the same as you. He was a bit snubbed, but he's almost a lock next year. You would imagine, right? I mean, he came, I think, what, fifth place in voting this year?
Yeah, fifth place, and he was 4% from hitting the threshold for being eligible for being elected. But since there were more players ahead of him, obviously, you know, things work out. I mean, even Carlos Beltran, who was fourth, was over that 70% threshold. So if he didn't have three other players ahead of him, we'd have had Carlos Beltran elected instead.
Yeah, and I feel like Beltran is gonna make it next year, considering he almost did this year. Um, you know, but there was a couple guys on there that, and honestly, I was surprised. Alex Rodriguez got 37 point something percent of the vote, um, which I'm surprised he got that much because I mean Barry Bonds couldn't even get in, so we all know no fucking steroid era guy is really gonna get in, and he got way closer than I thought he would have, just for you know him being in the steroid era and whatnot. Um, but I think so. So I thought that was interesting that he got close to 40% of the vote. Um, I would have imagined a lot less for him. Uh, but yeah, yeah, Andrew Jones definitely snubbed. But I'm just very mad about Ichiro not getting the unanimous vote, man. I'm very pissed off about that one.
And yeah, that's the biggest problem of this 2025 class. Other than that, like I said, I think all three of those players are very deserving. And with Beltran and Andrew Jones, yeah, next year with the weak initial class, I think they're all but locks.
Yeah, I would definitely say they're all but locks there. Um, One thing I wanted to talk about too, and I'll kind of let you start us off is some free agency stuff, some notable guys that are still out there on market, uh, and notable guys that their teams have said, nah, fuck off. So start us off with something, man.
Yeah, so I'm gonna start off with the obvious. Shocking no one. Roki Sasaki decided he is in fact going to LA. Uh,
So much for wanting to be in a small market. So much for that.
yeah, we all kind of figured it was gonna happen anyway. But he can say, or his agent can say, he wants a small market team all he wants. Dodgers have the most money, and they're gonna pay, and they got exactly that. Now, moving to players that are still open. Alex Bregman, still out there, still teamless as of right now. Uh, Astros are kind of back in the mix, but talks are pretty doubtful. It was funny because you brought up a tweet beforehand that said if they do retain Bregman, they're going to move Paredes to second and then Altuve out to left field. And just makes me chuckle because I don't think that's gonna work out, but it'd be interesting to see.
Yeah, it was a tweet from Bob Nightingale, and I'll read it to you again here. The Houston Astros are keeping the door ajar for free agent third baseman Alex Bregman to return, but are not optimistic. Bregman has serious offers from at least two teams. So that I want to get to that in a second. But if the Astros pulled it off, Bregman could stay at third base, Isaac Paredes moved to second base, and Jose Altuve to left field. So first of all, Altuve's getting old, so he ain't even that fast, and he's very small in left field. I do not think that would work at all. Like what?
Granted, Houston does have the higher left field fence, so he's not gonna be robbing any home runs anyway.
That's
But
true. That's true.
playing it off the wall as the shorter player, it can go over your head, and that's a fear you have to have. As a shorter outfielder myself growing up, that's something that I did have to have fears of if, the ball caught the fence at the right angle. But at the end of the day, Jose Altuve is a professional baseball player, and I'm not, especially at that time when I was playing. But I don't know if making that swap to the outfield at that point is going to be beneficial, but the Astros might make it work at the end of the day if they do retain Bregman. But as for those two teams, I have a feeling I know who they are. It's just I don't think either of them are going to budge on the length of their contract, and neither is Alex Bregman, so it's going to end up in a stalemate most of the way.
Yeah, I definitely have a feeling our Tigers are in on it. But
That's one of them.
Chris Ilitch is a cheap ass anyway, so But I don't even honestly like. It's an upgrade because it's better than fucking having Matt fucking Vierling rolling out there at third base. But it's not that much of an upgrade. It's a hell of an upgrade defensively though. But as a bat, it's not. It's almost a lateral move, little bit of an upgrade, but pretty much a lateral move at that point. Um,
More power.
yeah, or well, also because whoever our fucking batting coaches are, they make guys bat even worse. So there's also that. You have to factor in that he could
Yeah,
get worse. Just because I mean, look, Javi Baez wasn't anything super great before coming to Detroit, but then he got really really bad really really quick. So but yeah, it'd be interesting. I don't know who the other teams in on him would be. Maybe you could shed some more light on that one.
from what I know, what I've seen, I think it's Toronto. I've seen a lot of
Interesting.
insiders say Toronto might swoop in at the end because Boston's pretty much all but out on him, just because they've had a decent haul in free agency. Detroit was the only other suitor who's been named. I mean, maybe he goes to New York, but I don't think New York is really going to budge, especially because they're still interested in Arenado, if I'm remembering correctly. And obviously, not getting Alex Bregman, having Nolan Arenado in your back pocket is not the worst thing in the world either. So, there are options out there, but for the Tigers, I think they still are the front runner for Alex Bregman. It's just a matter of I think Bregman's going to maintain his his stance, and it's going to be either the Tigers are going to fold and give him that extended contract, or another team is going to fold and give him that extended contract. I don't think he's going to budge at all.
Yeah, I think it's really going to come down to what does Chris Ilitch do, because he, if you know what I'm saying in parentheses, needs to stop being so cheap about it. But at the end of the day, um, you know, I think the Tigers still are the front runners for it. It's just will Chris, or who's going to budge basically first. And then let's talk a little bit about Pete Alonso because he told me something interesting before we started recording this.
Yeah, I don't know if it's true or not, but the rumor mill has it that Pete Alonso was offered a contract by the Mets. He declined it, and then they ceased contract talks with them. So I don't know how true that is, but if that's the case, that's it's pretty telling if I'm Pete Alonso from the Mets.
Yeah, that is wild to me. That they're pretty much out on him. Uh, so it Where does he go though? Is the real question. I mean, besides the obvious that LA is just probably going to offer him a stupid contract anyways.
I mean, from what I'm seeing, as of today, he was talking with Toronto. So maybe Toronto's going to DH Vladdy, but end of the day, we're going to have to see. Because if New York doesn't want him, I mean, this is a first baseman who hit 240 and, I believe, 34 home runs last year with 88 RBIs. Now, granted, we've seen him do better, at least in terms of home runs and RBIs, but 34 home runs, 88 RBIs, hitting 240, that's not bad. I'll take it. And if, especially, put him on the Tigers with those numbers. He's outperforming Spencer Torkelson in every facet. And I mean, granted, Spencer Torkelson's not,
And you know what? You put Torque on the DH because Torque is awful defensively, and well, you got yourself a decent.
DH and Kerry Carpenter.
You can rotate. You can rotate.
Spencer Torkelson can sit his ass on the bench for all I care.
I mean that's fair. That is fair, unless he magically turns it around.
Yeah, the writing is all but on the wall for Spencer Torkelson, considering Colt Keith has been taking reps at first base, and so is Justin Henry Malloy. Yeah, he's gone. So if they do take a whack at Pete Alonso, it's a right-handed hitter they know can hit. So good for them. At the end of the day, like you said, Detroit's hitting coach just doesn't seem to be a competent hitting coach and makes players worse. So we might just see him turn into Spencer Torkelson.
Yeah, well, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, outside of that, not really a whole lot else going on right now. Obviously, the NBA blows because the game just really sucks right now. Ovi is still on, Gretzky record watch, but he hasn't scored in the last couple games. So hopefully he does tonight. That game starts in about 15 minutes from now. So we'll just have to see. But yeah, so that's going to wrap us up here, guys. Tuesday, we'll obviously go over our NFC and AFC championship games, getting us set for the Super Bowl. We will obviously talk about anything else that really comes up that's important. It's getting to that point of the year where we're going to probably start doing one episode a week until things start picking back up with football again. But we'll kind of have to play that one by ear, just because again there's going to be a lot to get to, especially as the NBA and NHL playoffs start rolling up as well. We're going to have to talk about a lot of that. So anyways, guys, rate, review, subscribe, help us out, let us know what you guys want to see more of course. Follow us on Twitter or X at the Andrew and Ian Show. Check out our YouTube page, of course, and we're going to keep on sharing this podcast, guys. We'll keep on growing it. Thank you guys again so much for listening, and we will see you guys on Tuesday.